Joining us right now is former Michigan Congressman and former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Pete Hoekstra. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be with you.
Just
Good morning.
Just an incredible 48 hours. What's your reaction to these three separate attacks? They all occurred yesterday.
Well, actually, it's 72 hours. You also had the attack in Jordan on Saturday where 10 people were killed, including a Canadian tourist. What this really does show is the breadth of reach of ISIS and radical jihadist groups. They can hit in Jordan, they can hit in Turkey, they can hit in Germany. It also shows the depth. They can go and hit a Christmas market, but at the same time, they've got the resources, and they can go out and they can take out a Russian ambassador. From their standpoint, it's a pretty impressive 3 days, 4 days of attacking Western interests.
Incredible.
You got that. Yeah, you got that along with what's going on, continuing in Iraq and Syria. We're not even close to containing this threat from radical Islam. They are still on the march.
Yeah. What do you want to see Donald Trump do at this point and the incoming administration? A new NBC poll found that 45% of people are optimistic about Trump's presidency. That comes after the Electoral College, of course, voted as expected yesterday, officials securing Trump's presidency despite some death threats to Republican electors to change their votes. We told you earlier that Trump tweeted, "We did it." This was what he tweeted after he got to the 270 electoral votes last night. "We did it. Thank you to all my great supporters. We just officially won the election, despite all of the distorted and inaccurate media." Congressman, do you think this will end those who are campaigning against a Trump presidency? And what do you want to see from the incoming administration regarding terrorism?
No, the whining tour by Bill Clinton, John Podesta, and others in the Democratic Party is going to continue. They're going to continue to viciously attack the nominees that Mr. Trump puts forward. What I want to see Mr. Trump do is I want him to select the right people in the right positions who understand this threat from radical terrorism. And he's doing that. General Flynn, K.T. McFarland, the other people that he's putting in place, they understand this threat. They are going to go on offense. They are going to build the relationships with people in the region, the Kurds, the Sunni tribes, Egypt, and Jordan, and these kinds of countries, and they're going to go on offense. You have to eliminate these safe havens where radical jihadists can plan, where they can train and prepare to attack in the West. He's going to do the vetting of people who are coming into the United States. This is why I think you're seeing the problems in Europe. They have not been doing the kind of vetting that is necessary. So make it a priority, go on offense, enlist our allies, get NATO involved, and we can contain this threat. It's going to be much more difficult to wipe it out, but we can contain it.
Congressman Leah Gabriel here. You spoke of, the vetting process that's going to be so important in the coming months and as Donald Trump takes over. In the first 6 months of 2016, migrants committed 142,500 crimes, according to the Federal Criminal Police in Germany. So, of course, immigration in Germany, Angela Merkel is going to be facing a lot of criticism as people look at this attack and what happened. But I think here in the United States, there's a lot of questions about how we're being protected and how we're protected against a similar type of attack to what happened in Berlin, what we saw over the summer in France. I know from my experience in intelligence, we have bubbles of surveillance in places like New York to help prevent this type of thing. But what can you tell us from your experience in serving on the intelligence community? In the intelligence committee?
Yeah, one of the things that we have is we have the safety of distance. We're so far away from the threat. The threat is much closer in Europe, where people can just go across from Libya, come across from Turkey, and those types of things. Plus, we do not have the internal threat at the scale of Europe. Plus, our law enforcement, the FBI, and those types of things, they've become very, very good in the United States in coordinating with local law enforcement activities. The place that we are the weakest right now is we have lost human intelligence in places like Egypt. We've lost human intelligence in places like Libya, Syria, and Iraq. So we don't have the insights into these safe havens that we would have even had 3-4 years ago. 4 years ago, Libya was a wealth of information and intelligence for us. Egypt was a wealth of intelligence for us, but because of what we did with Gaddafi, Mubarak, and those types of things, much of that intelligence has dried up, and we're going to have to reestablish that.
Congressman, just following on to that question, it's holiday seasons. We're a few days away from Christmas. Do you think this makes the United States a more likely target over the next few days? Is the threat level rising here as we've seen all over the rest of the world?
Oh, absolutely. We're not immune from this threat. ISIS has made it very clear. Al-Qaeda has made it very clear that the kinds of attacks that we're seeing in Europe are the kinds of attacks that they want to carry out here in the United States. You've got Christmas, you've got New Year's, you've got the upcoming inaugural. I'm sure our law enforcement, they are primed. They recognize that the next 30 days are extremely critical here in the United States.
Harlan.
Congressman, Harlan Hill here. In light of all of the news about Russia, they've been in the spotlight for really months now, and the assassination of their ambassador to Turkey. Their response has been very measured. What do you think we can expect out of the Kremlin in the coming weeks to really respond to the assassination of their ambassador? What can we expect? Because it does feel like that region is on a knife's edge, and the Russians could really respond violently.
Oh, they can respond violently. They've got the capabilities to do it over there. I actually think this is an area where Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, and people are in arms about that they may actually discuss these types of things, but I think it's a positive thing. This is an area where Russia and the United States have common ground. Fighting ISIS and radical jihadists, coordinating our activities in parts of the Middle East to wipe out this threat. There's lots of other places where we've got major disagreements with Russia, but this may be an area where we can work with them.
Real quick, Congressman, before you go, General Motors is announcing that the company will lay off 1,300 factory workers in Detroit. That's according to the Wall Street Journal this morning. Obviously, you represent Michigan, or represented Michigan. What does that mean for your former constituents there?
Well, what it means is I think right now it's not a major issue of concern. This is a rebalancing of inventories. Dealer stocks, car sales are down, SUV sales, truck sales are up. This kind of rebalancing usually happens at the end of the year when they go through their holiday shutdowns. Let's see what happens in the first quarter of 2017. Those are the kinds of numbers that we're looking at. Michigan is very, very used to these kinds of adjustments at this time of the year.
All right, we will leave it there. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Congressman Pete Hoekstra joining us there.